Two things that never seem to happen. Nick Saban losing in Bryant-Denny Stadium, and Nick Saban losing in his home away from home in Atlanta. Well, the Crimson Tide did drop a game in week 2 to Texas, and Nick Saban looked in the mirror and said, "There is no way I am letting the second thing come true." And much like Thanos, Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide are inevitable. Let's talk about the SEC Championship. If you are new here, welcome on into the channel. My name is Thompson. I'm a radio show host based in Houston, and I talk college football daily. So if this is the type of content you enjoy, plus coaching searches, bowl status, the transfer portal, and a bunch of other nonsense that we will get to throughout the offseason, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. Leave a comment telling me your thoughts on Alabama's 12-1 season with a dominant win over the Georgia Bulldogs. Tell your friends, your family, your sister, your brother, your mortal enemies, your best of bros, your workout buddy, your fraternity brothers, the drunk guy passed out in a Publix parking lot, and your entire church congregation about this channel. And as always, let's continue to talk college football. By the way, if you like this type of content, give me a follow on Twitter at Mr. Cole Thompson. It is the exact same as my YouTube handle. So when you hit subscribe on one, go on over to the other app and hit follow on the other. Thanks in advance. Alabama won 27-24 in Atlanta yesterday. And don't look at the scoreboard, okay? Do me a favor and actually look back at that game. Alabama dominated. Alabama had more opportunities to put up more points. And unfortunately for their defense, a couple of miscommunications, a few X failures that didn't turn into interceptions. That really was the difference in this game. But the way that I viewed this was, imagine watching a movie, one of your favorite thriller movies, and then you see the bad guy punch the hero in the face and he goes, "All right, you got one." And the bad guy looks down and goes, "Crap, I woke up the beast." And then, yeah, they'll get a few blows in here or there, but you know it's over. That was Alabama yesterday. Georgia marches down the field on its opening drive. Carson Beck looks like a Swiss Army knife, clean, pristine cut. He's a mechanical surgeon. And you go and you say, "All right, Alabama, what are you going to do?" They responded. That's exactly what they did. They outrushed Georgia. They were better on third down than Georgia. The receivers were able to find ways to get open more than Georgia's pass catchers. They did everything asked of them. And it was a testament to what this team was throughout the regular season. And here's the main reason why I think that they were able to sustain anything Georgia threw their way. Because Alabama has been playing like they understand that they're in the college football playoff since week 2. They sat inside of a locker room in Tuscaloosa, realizing this was the first time since 2019 they had dropped a game at home. This was the first time that they had lost by double digits in centuries, decades against a team. And they realized we don't have a shot of winning. We have to be able to hold our own. If we drop another game, it's over. We can win the SEC championship. We can hold our own against Georgia. We can show the world that we look like one of the best teams in college football. But if we drop a game, it's over. So they have been in playoff mode since really mid-September. And everything was a culmination leading up to this grand crescendo that you saw in Atlanta yesterday, where the offensive execution was on point. And it wasn't just Jalen Milroe. Milroe was a star. You cannot tell the story of the SEC championship game without number 4 as the headliner. But every great movie has a supporting cast, and that's exactly what you had yesterday for Nick Saban's team. You had Rodell Williams stepping up in place of Chase McClellan. You watched as both Isaiah Bond and Amari Nick Black and Jermaine Burton all made plays. You watched as every single receiver was willing to put in the extra effort. That way they would continue to turn drives into points, and the points ended up giving you a sustainable lead. And Alabama had the momentum. And Georgia responded. You got to give credit where credit's due. Georgia was able to take risk. They took calculated measures to be able to put themselves in a situation where they were able to keep this thing close. But Alabama dominated. I mean, you watch the way this secondary played. That version that took the field against Texas in week 2 is extinct, and primarily on the defensive side, because you saw as a Donnie Mitchell, you saw as Xavier Worthy, Jatavion Sanders, all of these pass catchers were able to basically run through the open field, and they had more holes than Swiss cheese. They were fundamentally flawed in that game. And Kevin Steele has a ass chewing of a lifetime, and the secondary steps up. Guys like Caleb Downs are going to be pivotal pieces for this team moving forward when you get to a 12-team playoff. And this is why Alabama is inevitable. You can't beat Nick Saban. You can never count him down and out of the count. And Saban ultimately, in my opinion, is the final wild card or the trap card. The man just does not know how to go away. And when you play that card down, you go, "Oh, crap, it's over." Because once you wake him up, once you put a little bit of pressure on him, Once you make him realize he's kind of the underdog, he doesn't like that. And he never is going to allow a team to hold him to that standard. So what's he do? He implements a factor. He implements a criteria. He puts in the brain of his players, this is what we expect. A standard is made here in Titletown. This is where championships reside. And by golly, we have a team that can do it. You don't think that Alabama can win a national championship? If anything from yesterday, what you saw was the Alabama team that has been flawed, that has been countered, that has been under scrutiny throughout the regular season. You can't count it out anymore. They're better defensively than they ever were. You watch as this offense is able to continuously punch out drives that end up turning into positive points. You watch as the quarterback that in week 3 was benched. Week 3 was benched. Tell yourself that story. Jalen Milroe not playing against South Florida leads you to an SEC championship. You'd go ahead and take that to the bank. You'd go ahead and bet every bit of your penny that this kid has a shot of being one of the heroes in Tuscaloosa folklore. Yeah, that kid from Katy, Texas, ends up being exactly what you needed. And your MVP yesterday. Alabama may not make it into the playoffs. And by the time of this recording, when you watch it, you may see the already rankings, and Alabama could be sitting at number 5. But don't think that Alabama is not worthy of playing for a college football playoff spot. Do not think that Alabama, if they were to go up against Michigan, could not hold its own. And here's the crazy part. I don't think Alabama's done. I think Alabama still has that second and third gear that we have yet to see. Now, imagine if you give them a month to game prep for a Michigan, a Florida State, a rematch against Texas, a rematch that I think the entire global college football universe wants to see. We need this again because everyone is going to say that head-to-head matters, and it does. It absolutely does. But neutral site location, who are you taking, Alabama or Texas? Who are you taking? This defense that has gotten better on the back end every single game. This offense that has finally understood we have to play to our quarterback strengths. And by gosh, are they playing to it? And they're making it look easy. Who are you taking in that game? Alabama, if you face off against them in the playoff, if they get into the playoff, is not only more than deserving of puffing out their chests and saying, yeah, we are the team to beat. Best of luck to you. You ain't getting far. But they also are a team that has that extra gear that we have yet to see that I think definitely separates them from everybody else. The question is, will they get in? The question is, will they find a way for the committee to sit down and say, we can't leave them out? And it's not just about them being the SEC champion. It's about them being one of the 4 most deserving, most qualified teams in the country. That's really what this comes down to. Because head-to-head, you're not leaving out Texas. You can't leave out Texas. But pound for pound, roster for roster, this isn't just an over-the-night, run-of-the-mill, we added in a few transfers, look at this, now we're a good team. No. Alabama's roster is riddled with 5-star talent, and they played with a 5-star pedigree against the Georgia Bulldogs. That is what separated them yesterday. And the tide are rolling, and Nick Saban's not done. And Nick Saban realizes that this is probably the greatest coaching job he's ever had in his experience. And go back and look in August. There was a photo that went viral of Nick Saban, very villainous smile. Told you right then and there, this seems different, but don't count us out. That team yesterday showed you everything that hindered them in week 2, brought them to a championship in week 14. If they're left out of the college football playoff, they absolutely have an argument. Here's the crazy part. There's 4 other teams that also have an argument alongside them. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching that video. Don't hit the X button yet. Make sure you hit subscribe to keep up with all of our daily content found on Just Saying It and anything else that we post on this channel. Bye.